1869. A child was born at Porbandar in Gujarat, Western India. He grew up to become our beloved Bapu, India's father of the nation. Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, the man whom the world remembers as Mahatma Gandhi. 2019, Mahatma's 150th birth anniversary. The world came together to commemorate this special year. More than 100 countries joined hands to celebrate the commemorative activities curated by Indian missions across global populations. India's Ministry of External Affairs, with Indian missions and posts abroad, worked in tandem with local governments and the Indian community to organize various commemorative activities across the world. The range of events held to celebrate the legacy of Gandhian thoughts were varied. The huge number of participants in these activities makes it evident that Gandhi's ideas still remain contemporary and global and becomes immediately relatable to the entire humanity. The varied range of events held to celebrate the legacy of Gandhian thoughts prove beyond doubt that the questions he asked a century back and the answers he provided still remains valid to our own queries and solutions. Even after 150 years of his birth, Mahatma remains modern India's strongest global influencer. At the United Nations, the expansive celebrations brought out the contemporary relevance of Gandhi. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi was present at the occasion to inaugurate the solar panels that India gifted to the United Nations headquarters.
I commend those who have decided to pay tribute to Gandhi's legacy by marking this anniversary with a project connected to one of the Sustainable Development Goals. And I would like to take this opportunity to thank the Government of India for supporting the elimination of single-use plastic at the United Nations and the installation of solar panels and a green roof on top of the conference building.
गांधी जी भारतीय थे, लेकिन सिर्फ भारत के नहीं थे। महात्मा गांधी आज भी वो करोड़ों लोगों के दिलों पर राज कर रहे हैं। मैं समझता हूं कि जब तक मानवता के साथ गांधी जी के विचारों का ये प्रवाह बना रहेगा, तब तक गांधी जी की प्रेरणा और प्रासंगिकता भी हमारे बीच बनी रहेगी।
Gandhi's ideas had influence far beyond India's shores. His philosophy of non-violent resistance distinguished India from other independence movements of that era.
One of Gandhi's teachings embodies the UN's spirit. There is no path to peace. Peace is the path.
As political leaders, there is much that we can learn from Gandhi as we search for common ground to address the world's pressing problems.
Gandhi's doctrine of nonviolence and sacrifice, together with his vision for a more equitable world, is a source of personal inspiration to my own leadership.
His brilliant and mesmerizing leadership showed the world that an individual could bring earth-shaking social and political change in a non-violent way.
The anniversary evoked a spirit of celebration spread across the planet. Stamps were released at the UN to celebrate the Mahatma's birth anniversary. The UN also planted 150 trees with respect to 150 years of Gandhi's birth. This was to honor his philosophy of sustainability, which was a key word today in their global development agenda. Years ago, Gandhi believed that the availability of a green and sustainable world is critical to maintain healthy human communities.
He gave emphasis on living in harmony with nature. In that spirit, in this 150th of his birth, we wanted to do a tree plantation activity.
He once said, "What we are doing to the forests of the world is but a mirror reflection of what we are doing to ourselves and to each other." To honor Mahatma's ideals, Indian missions across the world encouraged a huge drive in tree plantations. After all, the least humanity can do to honor his memories is to give back what we have taken from the earth by planting trees.
Gandhi had values, and those values are eternal values, and young people should learn from that, seeing their way through life, and if they do so, they will always have a friend on their shoulder.
Our missions responded with unabashed enthusiasm, with a firm conviction to contribute towards creating a greener world, ushering in a better future for generations to come. All of this was in due respect to Mahatma Gandhi's critique of uncontrolled modernity, which reveals its concerns about the emergence of a social order that exploits nature for short-term gains. With amazing foresight, Gandhi has written widely about the need for human beings to exercise restraint while using natural resources. Troubled by unrestricted materialism, he foresaw a situation when the resources of the earth will not be enough to meet the growing demands of the people. With greater awareness of environmental problems and their impact on the health of our planet, his counter-thoughts are now fast becoming mainstream. It was, therefore, necessary to remember his lessons. The natural resources we have are not unlimited. Inspired by the lessons learned from Gandhi, the world is waking up to his realizations that our resources are not limitless.
We've all got to live by example as we confront some of the greatest challenges facing humanity, including, of course, climate change. And the way Gandhi lived his life, he was the change he wanted to see in the world, and we must all be the same.
His spirit of natural conservation was celebrated worldwide through innovative events like promoting cycling as a viable personal transport alternative, promotion of cycling emphasized on the overbearing harm caused by fossil fuel-led modes of transport and their impact on emerging issues like global warming and climate change. Participants demonstrated the need to shift towards greener and cleaner personal transport alternatives. Any efforts towards environmental conservation will be truly effective only if it's led by a community. That's the reason so many people across the world promoting cycling as a transport raises hope and confidence. Gandhi actively supported the need to reckless industrial growth all his life. These thoughts reflect the Indian philosophy of living in harmony with nature. Shifting to cycling is a sign that his ideas are now being discussed and accepted. Large participation among youth shows that even the future will be ready to inculcate Gandhian thoughts on the environment. To build a healthy planet populated by healthy humans, we will also require healthy and sustainable food habits. Gandhi was a frugal eater who actively promoted vegetarianism.
The issue of vegetarianism, I mean, we must talk about it because we now know that eating of meat is largely responsible for climate change.
For the Mahatma, vegetarianism was not just a conscious personal and ethical choice, but an extension of his radical economic views. To celebrate Gandhi, one has to relate to his passion for vegetarianism. Indian missions arranged for vegetarian food festivals around the world. The world joined forces to respect Mahatma's pacifism and love for balance in nature through his choice of food. For Gandhi, shifting to a vegetarian diet represented a human being's moral and spiritual evolution. He maintained and often shared his thoughts to his followers that spiritual progress does demand at some stage that we should cease to kill our fellow creatures for the satisfaction of our bodily wants. Gandhi's vegetarianism evolved from simple adherence to practices of his family and community to one with an ethical basis and compassion for other living beings. Inspiring to see the world coming together to admire the Mahatma's thoughts and practices and to enjoy sumptuous and nutritious vegetarian cuisine. For his entire lifetime, Gandhi stood strong with the idea of truth. His unflinching faith in the need to align with truth resonates even today.
To speak about the greatest personalities or one of the greatest personalities of the threshold of the 19th and 20th century, Mahatma Gandhi.
The quintessential character of Mahatma Gandhi can be defined in one word: ahimsa.
We have a lot of links with the philosophy of Mahatma
To
Gandhi.
soak in Gandhi's spirit of truth, Indian missions across the world created Brand Satya Varta. Literally, this means the message of truth.
Mahatma said, be the change you want to see the world. The concept of changing yourself to reflect what you want to see around you is simple in theory. but requires our patience and determination.
Through this forum, a large number of speakers from all spectrums of society presented their understanding of Gandhi.
He took pride in his country, in his nation, in his heritage.
These brief YouTube videos on the influence of Gandhi honor the Mahatma using a youth-friendly format. Ideated on the lines of TED Talks, this gave commoners from various walks of life an opportunity to talk about how Gandhi changed their life.
Anyone that has to face hardship, anyone that faces injustice, and finding the strength to carry on is something one could look upon the example of Mahatma Gandhi.
We should emulate is education and Gandhi's lifelong espousal of the advantages of seeking out opportunities for improvement and learning.
We will mark the beginning of our celebration this evening with traditional lighting of candles. This will be followed by release of Indian postage stamp in commemoration of the 150th birth anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi.
From celebration of truth through Satyavarta to release of commemorative stamps, Indian missions went all out to make the celebration an affair to remember. Philately is another key interest of those that are young explorers. The response to the release of these commemorative stamps was quite uplifting. Their visible enthusiasm springs out of an understanding that these stamps could become the conduit of generating further interest about the Mahatma. Releasing stamps is a time-tested process to honor the relevance of an individual and his thoughts, and his impact on the social psyche of a nation. The fact that so many countries around the world took recourse to this unique mode of honoring the Mahatma definitely shows how the modern world is waking up to the lessons inspired by Gandhi. To a large extent, the ideas of Gandhi were deeply rooted in Indian ethos and philosophy. Release of these stamps, therefore, not only celebrates the 150th birth anniversary, but also acknowledges the coming of age of India as a global thought leader. While philately robed in young knowledge enthusiasts, programs about Gandhi in schools helped children to know more about the Mahatma's teachings. Gandhi believed that if we want to reach real peace, we should focus on better educating our children. Our missions were instrumental in organizing focused school outreach programs to appraise young minds with stories of Gandhi and his life.
As we are celebrating 150 years of the anniversary of Advocate Mahatma Gandhi, his values, his teachings and what he believed in and believing in social cohesion, in peace, in education and people working together and non-violence, all of those are very, very needed today, much more than they were needed before.
These programs were carefully curated to empower and sensitize young minds with Gandhi's principles and thoughts. celebration of his 150th birth anniversary would remain incomplete without reaching out to school children. They are the future that we hope to improve. Painting competitions were also held on the occasion. Everywhere, children vicariously picked up the lessons learned and enjoyed knowing more about the teachings of the Mahatma. Youth today are not just citizens, they are also netizens. To tap this immense potential to connect, an online Mahatma Gandhi quiz was uploaded to attract young minds. The quiz witnessed enthusiastic participation from all sections of society.
It is a special evening because for the very first time, we will see images and messages projected in many ways all over the globe.
Technology lies at the heart of modern communication. That's how we can reach the young. Gandhi's photos and moving pictures were digitally projected on iconic heritage structures and digital display screens around the globe. Through easy storytelling using line drawings, the purpose was to spread awareness about Gandhi among global youth, simply and effectively. Simple and direct storytelling, yet in a larger-than-life format that would appeal to a wide spectrum of viewers. The LED projections were designed to become an innovation that would become the talk of the town and bring more people into the fold of Gandhism. And that's precisely what these LED projections achieved. While inspiring awe, the events also planted questions about contemporary life and living in the minds of people around the world. They generated interest amongst the commoners about the principles that Gandhi lived and died for. Taking Gandhi's 150th birth anniversary as a launch pad, the purpose was to usher in a new wave of understanding his thoughts. The message was loud and clear. Only a contemporary approach would appeal to the evolving global citizens. The Mahatma was a lifelong achiever in the principles of equality and fraternity among humans. This became evident in his choice of cultural expressions. This also explains why he loved the bhajan Vaishnav Jan to tene kahiye je peer parai jane re. Literally, that means call him a true Vaishnava who feels
सकळ लोकमा सहुणे वंदे
निंदा न करे के नीरे जीवा थकिय सत्य न बोले भर धन नव ज्वले हाथ रे
वैष्णव जन तो तेने कहिए जे पीर पराई जाने रे
वैष्णव जन तो तेने कहिए जे पीर पराई जाने रे
महामाया व्यापी नहीं जेने दृढ़ वैराग्य जेनो मन मारे
रामानमाशु तामिलागी सकला तीरता तेरा तारा मारे वनलो पिने kapacera hitece kamakrara nivarare
भाणे नरसायो ठेनो दर्शन करता कुड़ाई को तेरे थार्या रे
वैष्णव जन तो तेने कहिए जे